Satellite imagery reveals the vastness of the South China Sea, where $5.3 trillion in annual maritime trade traverses through its waters. Yet, beneath these busy shipping lanes lies a complex web of competing territorial claims that have shaped East Asian geopolitics for over a century. In 1947, China first introduced its 11-dash line, claiming historical rights to nearly 90% of the South China Sea. This assertion would later evolve into the current 9-dash line, encompassing waters also claimed by Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. These overlapping claims stem from the region's estimated 11 billion barrels of untapped oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, OOS, ratified in 1982, attempted to establish order by defining exclusive economic zones extending 200 nautical miles from coastlines. However, this framework collided with historical claims predating the convention. Vietnam bases its position on administrative control dating back to the 17th century, while the Philippines cites its geographical proximity and the 2016 Permanent Court of Arbitration ruling that invalidated China's historical claims. Maritime resources fuel this territorial competition. The South China Sea provides 12% of global fish catch, supporting 3.7 million people employed in the fishing industry across bordering nations. Scientific data indicates that 55% of fishing vessels operating in these waters originate from China, with Vietnam and the Philippines accounting for 29% and 16% respectively. Environmental monitoring systems have documented concerning trends. Coral reef coverage has declined by 16% per decade, while fish stocks have decreased by 70 to 95% since the 1950s. Satellite data shows increasing militarization, with China constructing artificial islands covering 3,200 acres of reef systems, despite environmental impact assessments warning of irreversible damage to marine ecosystems. The resource extraction dilemma intensifies as regional economies expand. Current consumption patterns indicate that accessible oil reserves could be depleted within 15 years, while fish stocks face potential collapse by 2048 if current harvesting rates continue. International scientific committees have identified 571 endangered marine species within these waters, highlighting the urgent need for sustainable management. Recent diplomatic initiatives have produced mixed results. The 2002 Declaration on Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea established dialogue mechanisms, yet binding agreements remain elusive. Economic data shows that competing nations extracted resources worth $2.5 trillion in 2022 alone, demonstrating the challenge of balancing immediate economic benefits against environmental preservation. The South China Sea represents a critical test case for international maritime law and environmental stewardship. While historical claims and resource competition drive current tensions, scientific evidence suggests that without cooperative management, the region's economic and ecological value may be permanently compromised. The question remains: can competing nations transition from resource rivalry to sustainable coexistence before irreversible damage occurs? Satellite monitoring continues to track this delicate balance between national interests and environmental necessity in one of the world's most contested maritime spaces.